Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, my name is Elder Price.
Ah,
Ooh, that's good.
shooting shit.
No thanks.
Testing. Hello. Oh, there it is. Oh, the classic turn it off and back on again, I think, worked.
Mm.
I hate technology.
Old reliable.
Oh, reliable. Oh, man, I'm already sweating. So it says people can hear me and it says people can hear you, but if that's not the case, if anyone's here, let us know.
Yes, hi friends.
Hello, people. Thanks for following. Do you care if you, Drew? Do you care if or will your brother care if I say his name?
Don't dox
If I
him, man.
dox him.
Probably not.
If I say his
but-
social security though, do you think they're gonna?
Oh, dude, even say my mom's maiden name, the street we grew up on. You know,
First
our
pet.
first family. You read my mind. You might as well have the answer.
What high school did you graduate from? You know, all that stuff.
Well, now that we can get into the Forsyth family bank accounts, so thanks for following. Other Forsyth, Drew's brother,
You can say Justin.
Justin. And thanks. I don't know if I've said it previously, but I'll dip back into some of my things. Thanks for following Sketchelium. Sketchelium. Sounds like a new element on the periodic table. Sketchelium. Classy Slime. Classy with a K. Kamin, isn't that one of your familiars?
Yes.
Classy Slime.
You haven't met him yet.
He has a little bow tie.
Funny part is I'm not kidding, but
Let's see. I don't think I missed anyone. But yeah. So thank you everyone for all the new followers. What'd you say, Drew? 112? 112.
112.
112. Crazy stuff. And I think I'm up to 12, 13 patrons at this point. Super
Heck
fun
yeah.
stuff. My goal is to get 25 by the end of next month. It's a big old whopping goal, but I'm starting to get just barely. I'm at like the foundational levels of actually posting about the stuff I do on social media. Who would have thought?
Wow.
Crazy concepts. If you tell people what you're doing, then they see it. So yeah. But besides that, all the normal stuff. I just want to play. I'm just ready to play.
Let's do it.
So we'll recap here, but for people who maybe come in later, you will see, hopefully, I think it's selective, a timer that'll say, don't know what's happening? Use the command, blah, 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 recap. And so for you guys and my players, if you forget what we're doing or what happened last time, that's there. But if one of you wants to catch this pun, if one of you wants to take the reins for this
I
recap,
did that last time. That's the
about what happened last time, I'll give you a point of inspiration.
So, after having an interesting encounter with some rot grubs and excusing our companion while he dealt with some issues, we took up off into the woods, deeper into the swamp in search of the bog wishes. We decided to take our cart and horse as far as we could, which included driving it in and around the muck and trees and other horribleness as we went. Eventually, I believe we heard a voice call out through the woods. Don't remember exactly what it said, but it basically said, fuck around and find out. And we did. We started trying to run away, and the horse got stuck in the mud. But with a clever use of a natural 20 from a silver pocket watch, our companion Sludig was able to lift the horse over his head, do a couple squats, and then continue on our journey. To which a writhing tsunami of centipedes came out of the woodwork and started chasing us. We had a very interesting car chase in the swamp with the wagon and centipedes. Only in D&D, everybody. We had interesting combat where we were trying to push them away and get further away. Malachi turned out to be the MVP. Who knew?
I feel like that's not the first time that's happened either.
It's kind of not. Yeah, the Gazer is pretty freaking awesome. But eventually we were able to outrun the centipedes for the most part, just in time to watch this large Gloam toad monster jump up and eat all of them, which is it's pretty baller. Let's be real. We eventually made our way over to what I think it was a lighthouse that would have been like grown over, kind
Old
of
watchtower.
Watchtower.
Same shape.
Yeah, phallic in nature.
Yeah.
And watched something that I'm sure is going to be described again. So any attempt of a description I do now would be a horrible sham. So I'll just let Logan do that.
Take a point of inspiration.
I will.
And I've chosen my dice for this evening, but we'll do that description again before I show what dice I'm using. So, the creature that was unveiled at the end of last session, they noticed that the tower that they approached had a large, massive 10 to 15 foot rose on sort of the back side of the tower. It moved, it opened up, and started moving down the tower. Effectively, it looks like the sort of a silhouette of a spider, except sort of where the thorax or the butt would be is a large rose. The torso of it is that of once would have been a woman, but is now sort of green, almost sickly tinted. There are thorns and barbs up the arms, and the head stops at the jaw and then branches off into plants and more flowers. The legs of this flowery spider-like creature are thorny vines and stems and all sorts of leafy protrusions, and it crawled down off the tower like a spider, confronted our very brave heroes here, congratulating them essentially on surviving the bog and making it this far, and got cut short, recognizing Aminah and calling her by name. And so on that note, the dice I'm using, I think previously Daniel has chosen my dice in the last session. This time, hopefully it'll work. It's this white, red, and green set, and then a very classic red set for the rose. I've got my rose dice ready. So, Aminah, this horrific entity made its way toward you as you approached the tower and called you out by name.
I'm sure you have your ways of figuring out who it is goes in and out of your swamp. We made no shortage of noise, but I'm afraid you are unfamiliar to me.
Cocks their head, says, "Oh, you're old now. You've forgotten."
Forgotten what, if you don't mind me asking?
Forgotten. Old age. How old are you now? 100? 90?
No, my dear. No, my dear. 50 long years on this earth, but I'm still here. Logan, can I ask, how does this creature's voice sound?
Kind of a little crackly.
Mm-hmm.
A bit. Just a bit off. like there's not the right emphasis on the right words. It's all just a bit. The words are there, kind of, and it's just crackly and
Okay.
weird.
All right. But yes, 50 long years. And how long have you been here? How old are you, may I ask?
Their head a little bit, and you notice that the rose on the backside of her body, it's open, but it's sort of opening and closing, almost like it's breathing, like it's a set of lungs, ever so slightly. Cocks her head and thinks a little bit. If I could get all of you to make either a perception or insight check.
Oh boy. Okay. Oh, 28.
25 for perception.
19.
So those of you, you all see this, who did perception and insight, you notice it and know what is happening. She has her hands out, and she's kind of twiddling and thinking. When you ask how long she's been here, she starts like sort of flexing her fingers and doing this weird like. And those of you who rolled insight, she's counting and like using her fingers and going like 5, 10, 15, 20. And eventually says 35 years.
Are you not one of the bog witches? Surely they must live for much longer than that.
I'm no witch yet. Soon, they say.
So, they. What do you mean by they? If you are not one of the bog witches, then are we not in the right spots to find them? Do we need to go deeper into the swamp?
Deeper, yes. I know them. They, Madam Kyra was her name. You should remember her, Aminah. She's the one who saved us.
Saved us?
Yes, you, me, and Cassandra saved us.
All right, so I'm going to describe the physical reactions for you two fellas, for everyone. When she hears that, Aminah, you notice for the first time since us three have been together that, like, this shakes her. This, like, we've fought Gloam creatures and monsters and all sorts of stuff. This freezes her in her tracks and goes, "What did you just say?"
Are you upset?
No, but how did you know about my sister?
Well, she's my sister too.
And she's gonna pause, and she flips up her eye patch so that she can see clearly with both eyes, and just goes, "Farah? Is that you?"
Yes.
I I thought you were dead. And she collapses on the ground, like she's on her knees now. And it's Aminah doesn't get emotional, but this gets her. I thought you were dead. I spent all these years looking for you. And I thought the forest had gotten you. You were so young when that happened. And how can you say gift? How can you say saved us? Look at you. Look at what happened to you. And as she says this next part, she rips off her headscarf, rips off everything, and just shows her face. Look what it's done to me. I don't understand. I don't understand.
You're upset.
I mean, I'm so many things. She's cautiously approaching now because she wants to hug her sister again. But her years of like being in combat and being like in the world of the Gloam are making her like it's clashing right now like so hard. And she like slowly approaches. I'm overjoyed. I'm sad. I am upset. I thought you were dead. You were a baby. We were all babies when that witch did this to us.
She saved us.
Saved us. Oh, my dear. It might be you. I don't know. You don't know anything about the world outside right now.
She said the Gloam was coming, and our house and everything would be destroyed. So she made us strong and helped us escape.
Escaped? She killed our parents, Farah. She set our house on fire. We were children. I'm so glad you're alive. But we have things that we need to take care of. Oh, and at this point, like, Aminah has been like fighting the urge to like be self-preserve. Like, she's gonna go out and give Farah a hug.
And gives you a hug. It's a bit prickly with the thorns and things on her arm, so you feel it just kind of lightly, like, just prick your skin a little bit. And as she's hugging you, she whispers, Sludig, what was your passive perception?
My passive perception?
Yeah.
I think it's 16. Let me see. 16.
You hear this as Farah leans in, giving Aminah a hug, kind of crouches down, squeezes you, Aminah, and whispers in your ear, saying, Are they your husbands? And Sludig, you hear
Sludig blushes.
They're handsome. Very pretty.
I cough and kind of shake my head. But I give a point.
I'm just like looking up at the sky.
Okay. Oh, husband. My dear sweet. Oh no, these are my darling companions. They have saved me on more times than I care to count. Um, come here, gentlemen. Come here.
Take a couple steps forward.
I also walk forward. I feel as though we recognize this name. Probably. Have you told us about Farah?
I think so.
No.
Like probably, I it would have been like she mentioned multiple sisters, at least two, and you know of Cassandra, but you don't know Farah by name yet. So
Well, I heard her say Cassandra, so I'll assume this is someone familiar to you.
mhm.
Well, Farah, it is nice to meet you. We have accompanied Aminah for quite a while, and she has spoken of her sisters, but I'm not quite sure if I remember your name or not.
It's Farah.
It
Gentlemen.
is a pleasure to meet you in the flesh, I suppose.
Now, you said not yet when you were talking about being a bog witch. Do you know any other apprentices or people who may have come to train here before?
Before that, Aminah, I need you to make an insight check.
Okie doke. 21.
When Kamin steps forward, introduces himself, Aura kind of breathes in, and you see a little bit of scowl, a little bit of a grit, like so just small.
Oh no.
And something that she's done ever since she was like tiny is she starts to like ring each of her fingers individually whenever it gets nervous or has anxiety about something. And when Kamin introduces herself, she kind of like nods, says like, nice to meet you, but she immediately gets nervous. And then Sludig, answering your question about apprentices and stuff, she nods, saying, yes, bog witches are always saving girls and allowing them to become witches. I'm going to be a witch soon, and there are a few others, turning now to Aminah, like us, other saved girls, but then also other witches, magic users that they have met and helped.
Does the name Hasina ring a bell? She was fair skin, dark hair.
Yes, yes, I remember her.
I think I must speak with these bog witches if you can bring us there.
Yes, as long as you don't mean to hurt them.
Ah, well, if my guess is correct, you are Aminah's sister. We would not mean to hurt you.
And shoot, I completely lost my train of thought. Yes, my dear. Yes, this is. We've come to the bog seeking answers. I've been trying for so long to figure out how to get rid of this, and just gesturing wildly to her face and disfigurements.
Why?
Oh my dear. People out there, outside of this bog, they are monsters. They'll take one look at this and shoot me straight in the face. And not ask a single question.
Come live with me.
I was so worried about you.
Come live with me. That's why I'm here. I can't live out there, so I'm here with the witches.
I see.
We're powerful. You're powerful.
And are you happy here?
I have my plants, I have my friends, and the witches visit me.
Very well then, Habibi. It's not what I expected. This is certainly not something I held on any hope for in my later years, but I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're happy and that you're alive. Now, my dear, take us to this Madam Kyra.
Kind of looking you guys up and down now, like mud covered of this, couple hour trek through the bog. She says, do you need food? Rest?
She,
I don't recall what time it is at the moment. I feel as though, I think it's close to evening at this point. So we'll say, we'll call it 5 o'clock. How does that sound?
I mean,
So Sludig looks at Aminah to make the call as to whether or not she feels comfortable resting here.
I mean, Aminah will just kind of like take a second, look down at her clothes, and then like just scan Sludig and Kamin and be like, "Yeah, after what we've been through, we kind of need a rest."
Sorry for the centipedes. It's, that is my duty from the witches. I protect the bog and play tricks and things like that.
So they're training you to do that. What else are they training you to do?
I keep the bog safe, but soon they'll teach me to be a witch.
Well, my dear Farah, it has been quite a day. We do need a rest. Would you kindly take us to somewhere where we can rest for at least a bit?
Of course. Bring your horse and cart a little bit closer. You can make a little home for them and come inside. I need to clean up, make room. And she kind of like nods, wrings her hands a little bit, and this massive rose spider-like creature scuttles away one last time. If I could get the three of you to make a perception check.
22.
17.
26.
This time, Aminah, Sludig, glancing up as Farah turns around, starts scuttling away. You notice that the more she talked and the more she was speaking with Aminah, the flower itself on her back kept getting bigger and more open and more beautiful and red. As she turns away and starts scuttling away, between some of the petals of the flower, you see a decaying, rotted arm flop out as she scuttles away.
All three of us see this, yeah?
Nope. Just
Nah.
Kamin doesn't. So Kamin, what have you been doing this whole time?
staring. The funny part is he's just not very observant.
He's
Both me
handling
and
his
Malachi
inner
are
Malachi,
going,
yeah.
No, I'm passively observing, just not very carefully, apparently.
Yeah, that is definitely something I'm gonna wait to talk about, though.
I mean, I think we need to talk about all of this, right? Yeah.
So as she scuttles away and climbs back up the tower to take her perch where she initially was when you approached, bringing the horse and cart a little bit closer, as you kind of park it, you see vines and plants and foliage rip up from the dirt and create a canopy over the horse and cart, creating like a little stable, essentially.
Don't know if you can hear me, but the horse is going to eat some of these plants now. I hope that is okay with you.
The horse takes one munch. Farah screams no.
Takes a munch, dies.
It takes one munch, a tree root just shoots up and spears him.
All of us make a sanity roll.
Oh God.
Actually, thank you for reminding me, Drew.
Oh God. Oh no.
I think it's appropriate for Aminah to make a sanity roll after getting this jar, this just absolute shake from her past. Throw your sanity die.
God. All right. Let's see. What do we got here? Please be. Oh, thank God, this is a 7.
Was it almost a? Did you think it was a 1?
It looked like a 1, and I was like, oh God, no.
Oh no. So I imagine that as the conversation proceeded, it kind of you settled down, your nerves calmed. But you have a few moments before going inside this old watchtower.
Did everybody see the arm falling out from the back of her flower?
The what?
You didn't see the arm dangling out of there, it was rotten.
What arm?
No?
Well, I think...
No.
Well, obviously, Vara is probably a very dangerous person. With the person hanging out of her back, I think we should know that she's willing to kill. Hopefully, being your sister, we'll be
Where
able
is
to
this
get
arm?
in her back. Is dangling out of the flower.
That's what I was afraid of.
Unless
I'll be honest with you both. I'm not entirely sure how to proceed from here. We have safe passage. We have safe haven, at least for now. But Bara was practically a baby when this happened to us. I don't know how long she has spent out here. Perhaps she's spent her entire natural life after that. And that could do a number on a person's mind. So
Sort of counting with their hands earlier to try and figure out how old she was. I think it's the correct assumption that she's been out here this whole time. She's, the risk of sounding crass, she's uneducated.
we only had just begun our schooling before that happened.
she's already confirmed one thing that I wanted to know about these witches, and that is, well, the shaman that that Ilya studied under. I always thought her magic might have been of this place, but your sister just confirmed that it is. I want to see if these witches know as to why Ilya may have been taken by the cult. Get some answers.
Yes, and as much as my blood just boils to think about that, Madam Kyra, I will swallow my pride and proceed with peace for the time being. But I have a feeling we're going to need to keep our weapons close.
Sludic pats his bicep.
We're never far.
I keep them handy.
So let's at least get ourselves cleaned up.
As you approach the front door, you grab the handle, pull down a little latch, and a number of things. It's locked, and it is rusted. This door has not been used in decades upon decades. And you kind of look, and you can see the flower, and kind of doing a little bit of just like mental math. She must have like broken a hole or something through the top of the tower and is sort of in it that way. So she's never used this door and doesn't really know that it's this way. So if you want to try and somehow get it open.
Do you want to see if you can pick the lock, or should I just make it a little bit of a permanently opened door?
I mean, Amina's gonna just try and wiggle it. Like, how fragile is like the door right now?
It's not very fragile, because it is an old watchtower used during sort of the Crusade era, so it's pretty strong still. It's just a little old.
Okay. Well, okay. I guess I'll try and pick the lock then. Yeah, I'll try and pick the lock.
Do you have expertise in your thieves' tools?
Yes.
So you'll add, what's y'all's proficiency bonus right now? Is it 4?
Plus 3. Next level is plus
next
4.
level.
So you will do +6 plus your dexterity. And then the 20 roll. So fucking like +10 or something.
Okay. Wow, that's hilarious. I got a 9 after all of that.
No! Wait, so +6, what's your dexterity?
Oh no, you mean like the 2-digit number, not the +4.
No, the plus 4. So you should have plus 10.
+10 to whatever you just rolled.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, 12. Not much better.
Better than a 9.
That's fair. You start to click at it, pick away. You start getting a little off track when you look down and you see some plants start to like climb up and like hug your leg, and some bugs just kind of like sit on your boot, just like they're along for the ride. Start to stop paying attention a little bit, and then just as the canopy had erupted, more vines support, like grab onto all of your legs, feet, and calves, everything, and just create almost like a chair or a lift, and just woof, you straight up to the window of the tower. So then you can all like kind of squeeze through. Yeah, you're all like,
Oh god.
I want off of the ride.
I didn't sign
yeah,
up for these.
it goes all the way up about 120 feet and then just drops. Like those rides at Carowinds.
Yeah, the ride. No, thank you. Jump off.
The drop towers, yeah. But you're lifted up to the second floor window of the tower. You climb through. She has lit ancient-looking torches in here, and lanterns. And specifically, most societies, settlements, and civilizations now use gas lamps. But these are like good old-fashioned like torches in here. So they must have been in here since the wars and the Crusades all that long time ago. She has, conjured up, created leaves and beds for all you guys, created bits of fire. It's a super small fire. Like, the create bonfire cantrip creates a full-ass bonfire, but this is like a mini version. Plants don't like fire, and it's like sequestered off into the corner super far away, like, no, not about that. But has tried to make this is homey and welcoming as possible, you do see scattered remnants of this tower. An old weapons rack is on the wall, no weapons anymore. You see what seems to have been a shrine decorated with all the Dawn Hammer iconography, and to the various, the goddess Aliana, all in one corner, but it has just now been overgrown and deteriorated with time. And what seems to be sort of a stone council table, or in war times where they would put a map of the area and move pieces around, things like that, but has now been scattered with plates and dinnerware also that are about 50, 60 years old. Not been washed, not cleaned, but she's trying, and has made this place homey. But up at the corner where the ceiling and walls meet, it has been completely broken away, and you can see the bit of rose behind her, but she has sort of this nook up there that she sits through, and sort of where this is her room, effectively. But she welcomes you all in. There is a sweet, flowery smell in the air. And after a few moments, you realize that on occasion, she'll just release her hands up into the air and release all these, like a dust almost. And so she's creating this rosy, flowery smell herself, trying to liven up the place.
That's a really interesting, pleasant smell, Vada, as she rebinds her face again.
So, during this time, for dinner, she holds out her arm. Vines grow across her arm. And Aminah, something you definitely studied in school, you've heard about the spell Goodberry, and how it is this old druidic spell that can conjure up a berry that counts it's food. It is all of the nutrients and everything you need. And she conjures up a handful of berries and hands them to you all, for your nourishment for the evening.
Oh.
Thank you.
And so she'll give each of you, three. We'll keep it even. So you also, when you eat one, you also gain an additional hit point. So you each additionally gain 3 hit points if you were down there.
Hey,
So they last for 24 hours, right?
Yeah, so if you want to keep one, you can. Or keep as many as you want.
Pick me up.
I imagine, like, you feel full after eating one. You eat one, you're like, oh, just, like, keep eating. But, of course, over the course of dinner and tea afterward, she does a lot of asking questions to all of you, but especially to you, Aminah, asking, what did you do? How was school? What did you learn? What's that? What was this? And question after question after question. And of course, at any point, you could also interject and ask your own questions. And same for any of you if you wanted to ask, as Aminah's husbands and traveling companions.
That ain't it.
I can't wait for the next loot you guys find. It happens to have 3 matching rings in it. And like, you're like, all right, we'll get rid of those.
Here you go, Dieter. It's on the house.
Yes, all of them on one hand.
Nah, that was beer money.
Only 3 more. And you will have collected them all.
All right.
And gets shut down by Disney.
I don't think Kamin has any like direct questions. I feel like if she gets to the point of asking or talking to Kamin, he'll, being himself, talk a lot about it, not really reading the room and the fact that like maybe we should still be kind of sus of what's going on. And he'll talk about what he's conscious of, at least in his history and what he's done, what he's familiar with.
At some point after Aminah describes the whole scenario of, sneaking into a formerly all-boys school and then impressing the headmaster enough, she gives Farah a very stern talking to about how some men are just absolute garbage and that you need to watch out for them.
Facts.
She definitely asks, whispers. You're in you're not far from her. Like there's no way whispering will do the job, especially when it's only the four of you in this chamber. But she whispers or attempts to, and asks you, Aminah, if Kamin and Sludig are garbage.
Oh no, my dear, no, I don't mean all men. These two, well, they're fine.
But oh, good.
No, I was just gonna say, she kind of gives them a look like it's a joke that she's poking fun at them, but no, they're fine.
No, they're fine. She eventually holds out her hand to you, and you can see she doesn't have a face, so reading her facial expressions is kind of difficult, but she holds out her hand to you, right up to your face, and just kind of nods, and then holds out her hand, and there's a sort of floating cloud of yellowish colored spores, this dust in her hand, and she just nods to you, and then she starts to breathe through her mouth, and Sludig came, and you're both watching
What is this?
breathe these. We can talk.
Are you sure? I don't know what this will do to me.
It's okay.
And she's only offering this to Aminah, yeah?
Correct.
Okay.
See those two
Oh god.
eyebrows about to jump off of their faces.
Oh god. Okay.
He's like, Aminah, trip with me. I think
Take this, wrap this cloth around your bicep really tight.
Oh.
Take this.
Here's this used needle.
Oh god.
Here are mushrooms from my underbelly.
Oh my god.
And the weird spider creature said, "Eat from my flesh."
Okay. Hang on.
Said,
all right.
no,
So
thanks, I'm full from the good berry.
I want to try something and let me know if this can work. I would like to, in a manner of oh sure I will, but first let me take a drink of water. And I will drink my hang on, let me make sure that I got the right effect. Thank you 5e tools for helping us newbie out.
Yo, 5e tools, if you want to sponsor,
I'm still. I want to do research about 5e tools. How are you a thing? What is?
I really, yeah. How do you get away with having literally everything?
And it's owned by some company or something in Europe, of the Nor Group Limited.
All right, so Logan, I am going to drink my potion of acid resistance, And then I will cautiously take a quick sniff of whatever this is.
So you quickly, she mumbles to herself, "That's not water," but that holds out the little cloud to you. You take a whiff, and she starts speaking to you telepathically, thinking, and you can hear her thoughts. And she says to you, "Kamin is not garbage."
My dear, yes, they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. They've more than proven themselves to be not only useful but trustworthy.
He smells like the sea. He smells like those things.
What things?
Those slimy fish things from the water.
Do you mean slimy fish things? Do you mean those cultists that we've ran into? The ones that are those horrible combination of fish and man?
But yes, he smells like they do.
Well, he certainly had his run-in with them, as have I, as we all have, so that doesn't surprise me.
You don't, though.
How's that possible? They practically abducted me had it not been for those two.
I don't know, but okay. Just be safe. He might be garbage.
I appreciate the concern, my dear. But as you can see, and she gestures to Seraphim, and then her dagger, and then like all the weapons that she has, I'm well equipped to handle any garbage man that comes my way.
In the meantime, while they're having this telepathic conversation, Sludig and Kamin, if I could get you guys to make either a perception or investigation check.
Perception. 10.
Investigation. 22.
So you guys get both halves of the coin. What's up? What's up, Jacob? And I miss Nobushi Nueve's chaos,
Emotes.
Logan, emotes. This is definitely a time for chaos, Logan. I am just stirring the pot. We're at that point in the campaign. I'm stirring the pot. So if you'll, I'll take the reins this time, Sludig. Sludig, you notice another door off of this room that you're in. You're on the second floor, so it makes sense that there is an exit to the first floor somewhere. And you kind of just do a little bit of mind mapping. You're like, oh, that door must lead to the staircase leading down to the first floor. And you kind of, make mention to Kamin, and Kamin, you glance over and see another iron door, just like the front door, very rusted, very old. But there are scratch marks on the floor, like deep grooves on the floor from where this door has been opened and shut. So this door has been used.
And you said only Kamin saw the deep struts in the ground, right?
Kamin kind of pieced together that door has been used frequently and at least somewhat recently.
How intense is the telepathic conversation going on right
Probably
now?
kind of intense.
I scooch over towards Kamin and start sipping some tea that we've been generously given.
All right, I need you to make a constitution. I'm just kidding.
I'll pretend to drink the tea. Oh God.
You ate the good berries? Sorry,
Ooh,
instant
rip.
death.
Minus 1 HP.
Check that chat, Logie.
Bad
What did I...
berry.
Oh, Jacob, no.
Well, help me.
Continue.
Let me help you with that. As he scoots closer, I'm gonna have Malachi float like behind us, and I want him to use his telepathic eye to open that door.
Oh, the telekinesis, like,
Or
right?
telekinetic door, yeah.
Telekinetic door.
Telekinetic door.
Rad. And it opens very easily. It creaks a little bit due to rust. Make a stealth check for Malachi. Just generic stealth.
Grumpy boy. Stealth check for Malachi. Yeah, actually, I believe proficient in stealth for some reason. He is. So that makes that roll a 17.
I need to look at her passive.
As opposed to a 12.
Okay. Now, this is a weird roll I'm about to ask you as
Okay.
a group. This is a group roll. So only two of you have to succeed. A perception roll at disadvantage. So 2 dice, take the lower result, and I'm going to toilet cat super fast.
I'll do my best. +1, baby. The first roll had me excited.
I mean, both of mine are above 20, so it's fine.
I got a 3.
Hey! I got a 21.
Somebody had to fail. And my first roll was a 19. Second roll was a 2.
No.
Disadvantage be like that.
It do be that way. Disadvantage do be doing the disadvantage.
I just want to see what's behind this door because it is obviously not her.
And it's something happens, so
Yeah.
This could be a lot of things. Something. Oh no.
Okay, so what were your perception checks?
21.
21.
3.
Perfect. Let me roll this something happens really quick. Ooh, that is perfect, Jacob. Because it all goes according to plan. I love it when the something happens actually plays into the narrative. As the door opens, there is a gust of wind that rips through the room as some of the pressure is released from the chamber below. The smells being produced by Farah's roses and flowers covering up the room made it almost imperceptible. However, Aminah, Sludig, and Kamin, as the door creaks open ever so slightly and this bit of wind wafts through, it brings up a smell from the room below and wafts away some of the rosy, flowery smells. And just underneath it all is the smell of decay and rot and death coming from the floor beneath you.
Sludig taps his arm.
Has Farah noticed that we've opened the door?
She did not notice. This time, because of the smell, we'll see what happens. She has not noticed.
I'm gonna just like lightly grab Sludig's like elbow with my hand, and I'm gonna go into Malachi's eyes and send him down there.
Have him make one more stealth check, this time to avoid any kind of gaze or sense of...
A gazer avoiding gaze. That's a 15. No, 16.
So he floats down without issue. And she has taken to cleaning up more of the space around you, trying to liven up the place, sprouting flowers, putting them in an old, dirty mug on the table. And Aminah, she keeps asking you more and more questions. She's not paying attention to what anyone else might be doing. As Malachi floats down and you take a minute to peer through his eyes, the first floor, which at one point was probably either a sleeping quarters or even just a small armory, something for this watchtower. Whatever that use was, doesn't matter now, because there is, starting at about halfway up the staircase to the second floor, are bodies. Rotting, half-bone bodies. They're probably close to 3 or 4 feet deep of nothing but corpses that have been dropped down here and hit. Since you're looking through Malachi's eyes, make a perception check for me.
10.
There is some variety. You do see some robes from cultists like you have seen before. You also see some of the fishy bodies of some of the creatures you've seen before. But it's about maybe 50-50 between cultists and deep ones and other creatures you've seen, and wayward travelers who wander too far, bounty hunters, adventurers like yourselves, crusaders, old dawn hammers who have gone in, even some other creatures you've never even seen before, only heard about in rumors because they have the pointed ears of what used to be elves. All varieties of creatures, but not all the evil cultists like you've met.
So after seeing that, I have Malachi come back, because that's horrible. And just like float back up as he floats through, close the door, and just float back behind me like nothing happened. But then I'll come back to and just whisper under my breath as slowly as possible to Sludig, "We have a problem."
I whisper back, I smelled that. I assume it was, and he points to his arm again, but worse.
Much worse.
What should we do about Aminah? She breathed in those particles. That's a big word.
I love that word.
Particles.
Particles.
He's got a 13 intelligence. That might be the biggest word he knows.
I think she'll be safe regardless. Afara seems to at least have enough of her faculties to recognize her kin. We are not her kin.
I think we should try and stay as neutral as possible. Obviously, if you say it's worse than what I saw hanging out of that flower, well, we probably don't want to fight this thing, and if it has as much control over the forest as it seems, I definitely don't want to. Plus, it might make getting out easier if we're not a target from her.
Regardless, don't think I'll be sleeping here tonight.
That's unfortunate. I'm very tired. The carriage ride, it drained me. But it's good to know that we'll have someone awake all night. We probably need it.
Yeah.
So is there anything anyone else wants to say or do or attempt before nightfall and sleep? Bradley, I see that look on your face. I see some stuff brewing.
I want to go back down. I hate it up here.
I'm gonna go sleep in the
Oh,
cart.
the flower room. I hate it. Give me the
Yeah.
dead body room.
No, I'm not going down the stairs. I'm going to jump out the window.
Go to the
Oh,
cart.
okay.
I'm going to go sleep with the horse in the stable.
You've never betrayed me, cock.
Yeah.
For anyone who does not get that, they made the joke about naming the horse Cock for some reason, and so that's
Well,
just
because we couldn't name it Roach because that's probably
right, so
trademarked.
cockroach. Yeah,
So
there
we
it is.
use the other half of the word.
That's fair. There it is. Cock
Um,
horse.
I'll like hang out by the door, and if maybe the vines decide to pick me up and take me down, I won't say no. I doubt they will, though.
Yeah, as far as not paying too much attention. Anything else people want to say, do, or attempt before sleep? I said, Drew, you said no. Kamin's
Well, I did actually come. I want to just kind of figure out anything I can about what sort of training or what maybe the Bog Witch's stances are on the cult.
Same.
To put it in Farah's words, the cult people are bad. They use the Gloam for bad things. The witches use the Gloam for good things. And when asking about training, essentially she inadvertently dances around it and just keeps saying, essentially she doesn't know, but keeps saying they're gonna make me a witch soon. One day they'll make me a witch, and they'll start teaching me all more magic and things like that. So she doesn't know exactly, but she also says that the Bog Witches rescue girls and teach them magic and make them powerful. And it's very simple ideas of that. But she doesn't seem to know too many of the details about it.
Sludic's kind of taken aback a little bit because with all the things he's been seeing, he figured that she had at least been included in some of what they were doing. But thank you for telling me. I appreciate your willingness with what you know. These cultists, they've taken someone very dear to me, and I'm trying to find her.
I'm sorry.
I would like to say it's okay, but we'll see what happens when we find her. But Aminah, finding you after so long gives me hope.
Well, if she's lost, trying to find her, maybe the witches have found her. Maybe they've saved her or rescued her before.
We will see.
I'll come away from the window since the vines aren't coming to pick me up. Not to be blunt, but it's who I am. Where are the Bog Witches, if not here?
An old fort deeper in the bog.
And they come by here often, give you instruction, do other things?
Sometimes they tend to come my way when heading into town for supplies.
About how a month, 2 months, half a year, once a year.
She starts counting on her fingers again. 4 weeks.
And if we'll be going to see these bog witches to see if they've helped our friend. How long of a journey are we in for?
Three hours to the fort.
Okay. I was expecting 3 days. That's nice enough to hear.
And you said you were in charge of all these tricks and things happening in the forest of the swamp. If we were to go see these bog witches, would you provide us a safe path? It was treacherous getting here. You're very good at your job.
Thank you. I can let the other girls know, in case. Yes.
Thank you.
What's the weather like tonight?
Oh, Bradley, what's the weather like in Driftchapel?
Well, it was pretty hot, but a storm just blew through, so it's nice and cool now.
Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. In the bog where you're at currently, you're in kind of a clearing just because of the, where the tower is. But, let me see here. Oh, where is it? Where's my... There it is. So far, the weather has been fairly kind to you. It's a little breezy, as it's coming through. But, you know, for the heck of it, go ahead and give me a nature check, Kamin.
Oh, God. It's a nat 20. Let me find my modifier right quick. For a 21.
Something alights in you, and you kind of smell the air a little bit. You stick your head out of the window away from the smell of death and roses. And tomorrow's going to be a nice day. You don't smell any rain, no storms, nothing. The weather seems pretty clear. It won't be too cold. It's going to be a good clear day tomorrow.
My arthritis isn't acting up.
Yeah, exactly.
Ready to...
Sludic has found out what he wanted to.
Okay. Daniel, you got really excited earlier, and I
Okay,
didn't know if that was
so I kind of want to talk through a little bit about what I have in mind because I didn't think I'd find a use for this. But I still have that introductory book of magic that I so borrowed from our friend the Ordist. And as things, as we kind of prepare to like go to sleep or like rest or whatever, I want to kind of gesture to Farah, be like, oh, look, I have some, or I'll say something akin to like, well, you've learned this type of magic. Why don't I show you a little bit about the magic that I've learned? Maybe even something useful for your training. Who knows? And I don't know, it's I wrote introductory book of magic. Would you like feasibly be able to learn like a cantrip at least from it?
with enough time, I imagine
Okay.
as you kind of work with her through it, and you're like, "This is Mage Hand." You're like, "Pick up that cup," and you like kind of demonstrate with your own Mage Hand. She tries, and a vine just rips out of nowhere and picks up the cup. So it's kind of there, but a little bit different. And so like, but you kind of pick up like she can do the magic. It's just sort of her own brand, her own type of it, and that she's already sort of developed on her own without any kind of training.
Okay.
But it's kind of there, and even though she doesn't necessarily understand like the math of the magic, the mechanics of it, and like, you know, these runes mean this and this kind of layout, like that's nothing. She just does it.
Okay. Solid. Well, we have our little bonding sisterly time with magic and all that, and eventually she will go to sleep
Mhm.
cautiously on
but
the
she
bed that
will-
she's prepared.
She will ask to keep the book so she can practice and impress the witches and Madame Kyra.
Fair enough. Aminah hands it over.
So with that, cautiously bedding down, Kamin, do you actually stay awake to keep an eye?
So, I will just kind of pace around until people fall asleep, including Athara,
Mhm.
once they're all asleep, and I can like feel comfortable that I think they're all asleep. I'm gonna walk over to the little window edge there, look over to Malachi who's there with me, and take a step, jump off. But as I'm falling, I will cast gaseous form on myself again. So I into gas. I float down back to the ground, end the spell, and I'm gonna sleep in the wagon.
So you all short rest. You get your full 8 hours of sleep. Gain key points, Kamin spell slots. Aminah, you can spend some hit dice, regain any hit points lost. Same for everyone. Saluting Aminah, you wake up, Kamin's gone. And then we'll take a break, and we'll pick back up there for the sort of second half or so.
Ooh, your sister's killing people. And eating
Yeah,
them, I
like
think,
capital
maybe.
P people. So many people.
Capital P people.
That's oh man, I want to talk about it so much.
And you'll get to when we come back.
When we come back to so we'll take a couple minutes to grab snacks and drinks and stuff, and we may take a couple minutes to gush a little bit and talk about characters, and Daniel can
drama.
explain what Aminah's thinking, because I gotta know, I need to know it. But we'll wait. We'll take a break. So we'll be back in a few minutes. If you haven't been on the spot enough today, this actually might go for a little bit for everyone, because you've all kind of gained a little bit of something from the past hour and a half. You know what? We'll save Daniel for last because he has the most to probably think about. Kamin.
You can ask me first. I don't have anything to think about.
Sweet. Brain empty.
It's the only vibes.
So, I guess my question, this is definitely the DM probing for, like, where Kamin's head is at, but it's also good for, like, sort of flashback and role-playing material.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that Kamin and Aminah have definitely bonded over, and one of the reasons they travel together, is because they have similar but different afflictions, I guess is the way to put it. So in this scenario, seeing this sort of evolved form, this full evolution of who a creature that apparently also has a similar affliction, what's Kamin thinking?
That's terrifying.
Okay.
Kamin absolutely does not want to end up as whatever that is. I don't want to live outside of society in a swamp. I very much like the city. I don't like mud and things like that. So this is even further motivation for him to figure out what's going on with him, to him, and how to stop it. How to get rid of it. Which is why he doesn't, especially upon discovering she has a basement full of dead bodies. Like full. Like she got 3/4 of a tank of gas, but it's all dead bodies. It's just like he is to him, he is seeing what could be a potential future, and that scares him.
I guess honestly similar question to Sludig. But so Sludig, you are definitely interested in the bog witches and the old woman that had sort of saved you along with Ilya's help, or vice versa. She saved Ilya, who then saved you. Whatever may have happened during that time, this might be the source of it. What are you hoping you'll find?
So,
witches?
out of all of this crusade, this is the first time he's ever felt any semblance of hope to actually find an answer. In some way, he's always felt, even most of the times deep down, but on the worst nights, that this is a foolish errand, that there's no way he's going to find her. But this is his first glimpse at hope to maybe having a chance. At the same time, that scares him, because the last time he felt any sort of hope like this, any sort of just fondness for life, looking towards the future, it was all taken away from this cult. So he's got some conflicting emotions going on. That, and he spoke the truth earlier. He did get a sense of hope and peace that Aminah found her sister. So he's hoping that the same can be said for him with Ilya. He also wants to figure out any sort of answers as to why the cult would take one woman out of an entire village, burning the rest, when there were plenty of others to be taken. Especially now that he knows that Hasina was trained by these witches, who then trained Ilya.
And then finally, Aminah. So many things I want to know, so many questions I want to ask, but I guess just the vague and short of it is, what's going on in Aminah's head as she's dozing off to sleep?
Oh God, where to begin? She's feeling a lot of conflicting emotions right now. For one thing, she gave up hope a long time ago of ever finding her sister alive, because first of all, that was years and years ago when they were all children. Second of all, the Gloam happened, so like she naturally assumed that like, well, Farah must be dead. She was a kid that wandered in the forest, so what could have happened? And seeing her now, it's like, holy shit, like this. She not only is she alive, she's like really come into this gift, curse. That's another kind of conflicting level of thinking, like, wait, what if this is a gift? But wait, this is a curse. But wait, what if this is a gift? It's like a lot of things that like she held in her head for so long are finally coming into question. And she still holds a grudge to the witch that did this to them. This, I'm guessing it's Madame Kyra. She still holds this grudge, so like she's also trying to not be, she's being cautious, but like that built up like wall of like survival instinct and caution, like that's starting to crumble a little bit, because this is the first family she's seen in years and years and years. So it's a lot. She's sleeping soundly, but she's not sleeping soundly at the same time, if you get what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, she's glad her sister's alive and happy.
Love it. Who knew that you guys could roleplay with a Dark Souls boss? Who would have thought?
I don't like the way you said
Well,
that.
I think that's a crowning victory. Is like me describing this creature, and you guys were like, "That's a Dark Souls boss if
That's a
I've ever
Dark
heard
Souls.
one." Like,
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, there.
that is an achievement. The following morning, a bit of crisp, light morning rays breaking through the overcast, illuminating just a bit of the bog, not too much, um, but enough to eventually wake you up. Um, Aminah, did you want to ask about healing stuff?
Yes. So, when we wake up, I ask, Farah, my dear, the rest has been helpful, but um, we have taken. I know you are only doing your job, but we have taken quite the beating simply getting here, and like Mina, like wherever like she has miscellaneous like scratches or like scars or bruises or whatever, she'll just like kind of show her arm or shoulder and be like, "We've we've been through some rough things. Did the witches ever train you in any healing magic?"
They haven't trained, but I can help. Yes. Um. So Kamin, you're out in the cart. You don't know. Sludig, you're kind of coming to. I imagine Sludig's a little bit of a heavy sleeper. Um. Sludig, you'll make a perception check for me. Aminah, I'll have you do the same.
I got a 23.
I got a 16.
As the morning rays are kind of coming through, tower's kind of in a clearing, so it's also the area of most sunlight in this bog, perfect for a blooming flower like Farah. And so the flower itself, as the sun has been hitting it throughout the morning, has opened up even wider than you saw before. It is now a fully bloomed flower. Aminah and Sludig. Sludig, you're kind of coming out of a sleepy day, so you're not even sure if you saw it right. Aminah, you definitely saw it right. Just like Sludig and Kamen mentioned before, you see an arm slowly flop out from between Farah's petals of her rose. As she says, "Yes, I can heal you," the petals of the flower kind of tighten up some, and the arm gets pulled in between the petals, and then she curls up her hand and releases another cloud of these kind of reddish color spores. And Aminah, she heals you for 12 hit points.
Yes.
And as the flower kind of releases and the petals open up more, the arm does not come back out.
Huh. Okay.
Bradley.
I'm gonna wipe my eyes and pretend I didn't see the arm
Fuck.
again.
Farah, my dear, could you enlighten me on the particulars of just how this type of magic works that you just did? I'm curious. As she's somewhat shaken about what she just saw.
Plants need good soil, sunlight, and good water. Fertilizer helps them bloom to their fullest. And I've managed to the bad people that I have to protect the bog from, they are fertilizer.
You don't say. All right. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Thank you, sister. And Aminah is just gonna cautiously walk back to Sludek and be like, I think, like nudging him awake, like, I think it's time for us to make our way. Don't you think?
You're probably right. Uh, I think I was seeing things when I woke up. I would prefer to leave those things behind here.
Yes, yes, indeed. And do we? I'm guessing we noticed by now that Kamin's not there. Yeah.
You notice,
Yeah.
and probably panic hits your system very quickly, and you look
Yeah.
around and look outside, and you see him like in the
Oh.
stable with the cart.
Well, I know what's happening. He told me.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right.
Right.
He's with Cock. He's with Cock.
Yeah. He's safe.
I'll ask Farah.
I always feel safe with
so-
my cock.
Oh, so he went to check on the horse. Okay, good. Farah, my dear, could you let us down so that we can all regroup?
Vines take you back down with all your stuff. She climbs more on top of the tower, and this time she's on the very, very tippy top of the tower rather than kind of in the corner, and is like looking down at you guys and just like listening to what you're saying. But you guys can regroup with the horse and cart, feed the horse, brush the horse, get it all ready to go, and then do what you will.
So, I guess as we're leaving, Sludig leans over towards Aminah, still fearing being overheard. He says, I know you're angry with these witches, but your sister seemed pretty loyal to them. If we must fight these witches, we may have to fight your sister, and that is something I don't want to put you through. Or you shouldn't have to go through. It's not my actions.
Oh, don't you know I've already thought about that. The minute we entered the fog, and the minute the minute that we came together, of course I've thought about that. Of course. And like, she says it in like a somewhat like it gets under her skin a little bit, and she's a little bitchy about it because like it's one of the reasons that she didn't like really sleep super well because like yeah, of course she's thought about that.
Yeah.
So
Sludig was prepared for some bite back on that. He just kind of looks back forward, taking the reins. In his mind, he's thinking that he just wanted to make sure that she had. Figured she probably had, but he'll never know until he says so, and this is a very real possibility at this point.
So Farah will eventually climb down, give you a final hug, Aminah, and say that she's told the other girls to give you safe passage. So it should be clear to reach the fort. She points you in the direction, and essentially also tells you to follow the tree charms, those hanging vermin bone charms. The witches use those to mark their trails. But of course, she has to maintain her post and protect the bog, so she cannot travel with you. But
fair enough. Take care, my dear. And
head off.
head off.
So,
So you have a couple hours to
now
yourselves.
that we're relatively out of earshot, I did some poking around last night. That tower is filled with deceased people. I felt the need to share that.
Oh, I know.
What did she call them? Fertilizer?
Fertilizer, yes. I knew something like this potentially could have happened. Goodness, yeah, that. I'm curious to see if the other bog witches would consider us as friends or put us in that category of a fertilizer. It's
My thoughts exact.
we continue with caution. And yes, I know that Farah is on their side and potentially going to ascend in their ranks. I don't know what that means. Make her a witch or continue her training. But we better get some answers where we're going. Because if they harm her, then there will be something to be paid.
So long as they don't take my head, but leave them to their bloody swamp, they can have it.
I wouldn't keep you from protecting your family, but all I can ask is that we at least try to find some answers first.
Oh, of course. We are in not enemy, but new territory. Caution is key.
And we ride off into the
The
sunrise.
sunrise. So you head off. Again, not too far. And kind of using your map as a little bit of guidance. Pretty much you hit the center of the bog, and you didn't travel too far to reach the first little tower, and then now you're kind of going to like another mile or so to the next one, or to the fort in the middle. So it's a relatively very small area within all of the bog. But the entire bog is scary nonetheless, or at least the witches would have you believe. But you keep traveling. You find more of those vermin bone trinkets, and you find more of the faces carved into trees. The first tree or two with faces, nothing happens. But then you reach the third one, and you hear a different voice. And you recall from earlier when the trees called out, in hindsight, it was Farah speaking through the trees. Apparently she could see through them or communicate through them. You hear another voice come from these trees, but it is not Farah's voice. And it is almost this growling sound. I'm not supposed to, but look at all the meat on that. Ooh. That, ooh. Damn it. Ooh. And you, like, these predatory voices sort of follow you guys and shout out from these trees every once in a while. They want to kill you. They want to eat you, but they can't. Farah told them not to.
Saludic stands tall.
Aminah's just gonna like hug Seraphim, just like, if anything tries us, ooh,
Matched pistols drawn. Eldritch blasts at the ready.
I love it. But, easily enough, you were pointed in the correct direction. We're gonna do one encompassing survival check from Drew. Give us a survival check. You do it at advantage, someone helping you. You're essentially just trying to follow the vermin charms and face trees over the course of this journey. Just one fell check.
23.
Good enough. By the time midday starts to hit, you see a structure start to break through the trees. But not as mighty as you expected. You were told a fort. It seems a little too small to be a fort. And as you start getting closer, it has sunken down into the bog a little bit. So instead of 20-foot walls, it's like 11-foot walls. You see what used to be the gate at one of the corners has rusted and sunken and fallen down into the mud. Now it's just an archway leading into the fort yard, or what used to be the fort yard. It used to be made of stone. It's still made of stone, but it is covered in algae and moss and mold to the point where it looks like it's green, like all green, breaking out from the water. There is still enough mud and land to take the cart through the archway. Maybe you have to duck ever so slightly as you go through it. But as you make it to the other side, there's essentially what looks like a raft made of wood. Think of like a houseboat almost, like that wooden platform sitting in the middle of this fort yard. The stone walls surrounding, and you see what were probably once the roofs of rooftops of buildings within the fort yard, but now the water has gone almost all the way up to the rooftop. But on this sort of houseboat-esque structure isn't necessarily a building, but what looks like a table. On top of the table, there's food, but there's also, Aminah, what you can see and smell, spell components. All varieties of weird animal eyeballs and bones and mosses in glass bottles and things like that, all over this table, with little wooden logs, benches running along either side. And there are people around this table. Many of them middle-aged to elderly women, wearing all varieties of stitched together, sewn together clothing. At the head of the table, Aminah, you do vaguely recognize Madam Kyra, this older, dark-skinned woman with silvery gray curly hair running mostly down her back. And as your horse and cart is approaching, it's impossible to mask the sound of a horse and cart moving through wet mud and water. She stands up and looks out through the entrance to this fort yard, sees you all, kind of gets a grin on her face, and welcomes you, and says, "Well, important visitors, I guess. We were forewarned of this, so, please come in." And grabs a handful of dirt from a bowl nearby, and makes a big motion in the air, and some of the mud rises to the surface and hardens into something as tough as a rock for your horse and cart to easily glide over and park in a little area. However, Sludig, crossing the threshold of this archway, there is a figure that stands out amid all of these older, middle-aged women. You see a younger woman, maybe mid-20s, late 20s, wearing dark fur cloak, high collar, armor, a blade hilt or some weapon hilt on her back, and nearly radiant white hair as the sunlight's reflecting off of it, pale skin, sunken eyes. You see Ilya standing there next to this old witch. And I would like Ludig to roll Sandy to roll for me.
Yeah, that's fair. I got an 8.
Oh.
Ilya standing there. You probably, as you're pulling the cart in, you stop, hesitate, blink, rub your eyes, do everything. But that's her standing there, albeit a bit pale and haggard looking.
Doesn't even hesitate. hops off the horse. It's kind of probably still moving. It stops itself.
Yeah,
It's a
you're the
horse.
one driving, and so you just let it dive away.
He doesn't care. He really doesn't about the horse. Cock can get out of here.
I like Aminah and Kamin, who like maybe don't even know how to drive a horse and cart. You're like, oh.
Take the reins. It's her, you fools. It's her. And he rushes up to Ilya. They can stab him if they want to. Who knows? As he runs up. Ilya, what has happened to you? Have they hurt you?
You run up, and there's this light in Ilya's eyes, this light of focus. All the witches stand up, grabbing at pockets and reaching into their cloak and all sorts of stuff. But this Madame Kyra throws up a hand. As you run up to Ilya, standing next to her. Ilya sort of squares up for a second.
Hmm?
And cocks her head. Udig?
You remember me? Good. I feared the worst. What happened to you? The cultists came to our village.
He turns to Madame Kyra and looks back at her. Kyra gives a wave, and Ilya throws her arms around and gives you a huge hug. As her cheek touches yours in this hug, her cheek is ice cold.
Sludig accepts the embrace anyway, as in his mind he feels as though, especially the sunken look, the pale hair, the cold skin, this could be the last hug he ever gets from her. And he kind of lets this linger for a moment, and then he looks at Kyra and he says, I feel the coldness of her skin. What happened when she died?
Turning to the witches, sort of gesturing to them, saying, we felt a disturbance. Those vile followers of Atu were near. So we found your village, your little village that had been destroyed. So, we destroyed those cultists. But we recognized your wife there. And thought it a sad way to go. So we brought her back in a sense. Madame Kyra kind of turns to... Everyone else turns to Ilya. Ilya looks very just stern. Like, sort of just matter of fact. And then turns back and says... We brought Ilya back to... help us stop these... Atu followers and their horrible monstrosities. So, he will Her time in the mortal realm will not be done until this cult is stopped. And this Katu sent back wherever she came from.
Forgive me, this is all a lot to handle. And he kind of looks at Ilya and he says, how much of you is still in there?
It's all there. You know that feeling when you skip lunch and it's almost dinner time? You can't think of anything else but what you're going to eat for dinner. No matter what you have to do, keep thinking about how hungry you are, what you're going to eat. Like that. Can't stop thinking about stopping cultists, stopping whatever they're doing, whoever's in charge, whoever's leading them, whoever they're worshipping. Stopping them. And at this point, she looks up at you. She holds eye contact. There is a bit of sentiment and love there, but you can still just see that fire in her eyes of intent and focus. Because no matter how much I've wondered about where you were and missed you and wanted to look for you, I can't shake this feeling of needing to stop them.
That is fine. Excuse me. That is fine. My whole goal in going out here, this bog, damned Driftchapel itself, was to find you. I found you. If the last thing I can do for you is help get you to some sort of peace, well, it was more than I ever hoped for.
He kind of takes a breath. You see a bit of a tear roll down. See her fidget with her hands a little bit, and you look. She still has her ring on. Are you sure? That means the end. Gone. Good. And I would say, Aminah, Kamin, you're looking, and the witches are... There's maybe 10 to 15 of them at this table. They're watching very intently, but they are on guard. And this will probably be very much especially a Kamin and Aminah thing as well. The positioning of the way that they're sitting and the way everything is laid out, it kind of reminds you of stories of old, of nobility and royalty. And Ilya, who he's talking to, is effectively what seems to be sort of a knight or an arm for Madame Kyra, standing right next to her seat at the head of the table. And so all of them are on guard, waiting just in case things go sour. And so there's this tension in the air because of it.
First, Sludig asks, or says, is this really the way you want to live? This burning anger, this hate towards these people. I understand that if we do complete your goal, you will go away, but that's no way to live. In many ways, there are times I feel this anger all the time, but when I first met you, it was what led me down the path of controlling it. I would not have you follow the dangerous, terrible path fueled by rage and vengeance. And then he leans closely and whispers, but if you aim to live longer, if we aim to live together, well, you will live until this cult is brought down, yes. There may be ways to keep you alive. I cannot hear you if you're talking. For a second, I thought you were mouthing.
There we go. Sorry about that. She kind of nods in agreement, and she was of a similar mind, thinking maybe there's a way around it. Is, And eventually, after stuttering for a while, Madame Kyra chimes in and says, "We would love to discuss that prospect. We would love for you to join us. You seem of sound mind. If you are as interested and dislike these folks as much as we do, we would love for you to sit and join us and talk about our experiences and see what we can do about them."
I think that would be great. We have nothing in any way form of kindness towards these cultists.
Good. If I can get all three of you to make an insight check.
6.
It's a natural 20 for a 21.
13.
Kamin,
Wow!
all eyes are on you as you all start sort of making your way to sit down and get comfortable for lunch at this table.
Kamen puts on a false face of confidence where he's like, yeah, they should be all looking at me. I'm hot shit. Whereas inside it's all like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
Oh no. We'll say the final thing. Madame Kyra gestures toward her sort of knight standing next to her, Ilya, gestures towards her and says, "Take a seat next to your husband." And Ilya grabs a seat next to you, Sludig. And with that,
I wasn't expecting this. God.
And with that, we will stop for
Oh
tonight.
god.
I'm gonna toilet cat because there's something else I want to talk about before we totally break. So I'll be right back.
Oh,
Drew, quickly talk about how you've been traumatically scarred by this.
I have actually been fighting tears. I was not prepared for that
Oh my
at all.
God.
I was like, man, I'm gonna get some answers. I got the answer.
Yeah, this was say,
Uh,
and she's dead.
Yeah, and like, this is still so much better than worst case scenario that was going through Sludig's mind. Like, man, what sort of creepy experiments are they doing on her? Like, oh, jeez. There's
Gloam monster.
yeah. Dead and with a will for vengeance is better than alive and being prodded to become some creepy thing.
Exactly.
Creepy thing.
And
Man, we've been put through the ringer. Oh,
Today
my
was
God. My heart.
Good luck, you guys. I'm sitting fine. This
Yeah,
has been a
like,
great session for me to observe.
I feel as though this next session is where things are gonna boil for Kamin.
Uh-oh. Like a crawfish boil?
Well, I mean, feel as though any sort of like seafood boil. You and your weird tentacles.
I need those for now.
Oh, what I missed? I just came back to Drew doing a real deep south voice.
Tentacles.
No, I was just saying that I think things are gonna like boil up for Kamin because all the looks, things have been crazy for the rest of us.
Like I said, I expected this to happen next session, but you guys went on very smoothly. I'm surprised. But after a night of sleep, sitting down to essentially hatch a plan and unveil and discuss the details of what is to come, you guys level up. So, I know Drew and Bradley are familiar with that process. Daniel, I'll walk with you through that. So first thing, we'll start very small. As a rogue, your hit dice is a D8. What is your Constitution modifier?
Constitution modifier is a +1.
So go ahead and roll a D8 and add 1 to the total.
Fucking 8!
Got 2.
You got. Wait, did you roll a 1 on the die?
I rolled a 1.
Re-roll it. I'm not gonna let you take a 1. That's boo-boo.
So kind.
Oh my god!
What'd you get?
I got a 1 again.
Roll it again.
It's okay.
So
Now
kind.
total is a 4
Okay, so total is a 4?
with the +1. So I rolled a 3.
Okay.
Can I also re-roll my ones?
You can re-roll ones. So Daniel, increase your maximum hit points and your current hit points by 4.
Okay. Solid.
So when that's done, you guys are 9th level now, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So your proficiency bonus goes up to +4. So that means, Daniel, anything you're proficient in, so ability checks, saving throws, and your attack bonuses all increase by 1 if you're proficient in them.
And anything you have expertise in goes up by 2.
That's like.
I feel like rogues have the most math out of a lot of the classes.
I was gonna say like,
Hard.
I think this
Hard,
is
sir.
all of this.
So I believe now you have 4 expertise skills and so each of those will go up by 2, but your normal proficient skills go up by 1.
Okay, so.
Yeah, there was
That's plus-
going into this, whenever you guys had very similarly linked like witch backstories, I was like, yeah, it'll be cool that at some point Aminah's sister will be interwoven into the witches. Also, like, Sluty doesn't really happen to his wife after the encounter, so maybe like switch it up some, and maybe she's still. And then you guys were like, let's go meet the bog witches. I was like, okay, so it's all happening right now at the same time. Cool.
Oh boy.
But yeah, I'm a little surprised. First off, I'm very surprised that you did not end up trying to do anything with Farah. And I'm
Like attack her?
Oh no.
attack her or something.
I specifically avoided that because I remember when I described her to you, I was like, oh god, if we have to fight her, that's gonna be one bitch of a fight. No.
You know.
No.
And then for like, I didn't really think about like until recently. I was like, yeah, what if Ilya was like raised up as sort of a revenant figure to fight the cult on behalf of the witches? I didn't even really consider of like, hey, they could ask her to like help. I'm like, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I get to fight alongside my wife till she dies for good.
Oh, that's so sad.
I'm so sad. I told them when you went to Toilet Cat, I was like, I have actually been fighting tears.
Yeah, I feel like I really just punched you in the gut whenever I did the tear in the wedding ring.
Yeah.
After all these years, yeah. So
man.
Daniel, have you finished the proficiency math?
Yes,
More or less.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah.
We'll cover it. We'll talk about it more. Your sneak attack damage, which is currently 4d6.
Okay, yeah.
It increases to 5d6.
Where's my thing with that sneak attack? Okay, I'll just scribble on 5d6 there.
Unfortunately, in the grand scheme of mechanics, you don't get any new magic at this level, except your save DC and your spell attack bonus both increase by 1 because your proficiency bonus went up.
Spell attack. Got it.
Lastly, you do get a rogue feature at 9th level called Magical Ambush, which is if you are hidden, so if you as Aminah are stealthing, and you cast a spell that requires a saving throw, it makes the save at disadvantage. You have Acid Splash, right?
Yes.
So if you are hidden and cast Acid Splash, they have disadvantage on the save and take the lower of 2 rolls.
Solid.
You're gonna turn into a real spell sniper kind of character now.
Wait. Wait. Love it.
Be very cool. Rad. Drew, what did you get at 9th level besides proficiency bonus increase and a bunch of bonuses to your skills and stuff?
So
Class.
Sludig, seeing his wife dead but alive, he went more along the ways of his old path of life. And took a level in Barbarian, feeling her rage almost infect him.
Ooh. Angry couple.
This
Angry couple, and he went subclass time for Barbarian, and this way he wants to live until he sees her mission through, and he wanted to be able to take the punches if he could. So he went bear.
Classic.
Oh god.
I was thinking frenzy, but literally
bear.
it just doesn't work with Monk at all. Bonus
Yeah.
action economy just becomes wrecked. Like the extra attack is pointless.
I mean, Ancestral Guardian, maybe, but I will say...
What are my ancestors?
Exactly. Maybe her? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I summoned up my dead wife.
She says, I'm right here.
Yeah, now I have 2 of you. I'm twice as sad.
Yeah, Zealot doesn't work. Storm doesn't work.
Yeah,
Really.
I was a little limited.
Wild soul.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I guess you could have taken one of the other animal totems, but that's...
I don't need to see further. I mean, wolf
Oh,
is
sorry.
not bad. Let me see.
I don't remember what Wolf does.
Mm,
I think Wolf later is cool, but not...
It's like increased movement speed and pack tactics or something like that.
While raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls against any creature within 5 feet of you that is hostile.
That is
So I
pretty
give
cool.
my teammates pack tactics, but which one of y'all fights up in melee?
I mean,
Well,
I mean, my wife.
Wife.
What does the thing say? What is the wording of it?
While you're raging, your friends have advantage on melee attack rolls
Oh,
against
melee
any
attack
creature within
rolls.
5 feet of you. Yeah.
I thought it was they have advantage on attack rolls if you were within 5 feet. And I'm like, that's pretty cool, but...
Yeah, that'd be nice. Really good for Aminah.
Exactly. So yeah, but Amina's more ranged.
Well, no, she could be melee if she needs to.
She needs to.
She does have a dagger.
Man, now I gotta think of... I'm gonna get Sludig. Take a little bit of
Yeah,
damage.
I do have 109 hit points now and 3 rages.
And essentially you take like half... You take half damage on everything. There are some...
No,
are
I mean, I
fighting
can't
Eldritch-
rage as well.
That's fair. And also, like, the Eldritch beings you fight sometimes do
They'll
psychic damage. So it,
Yeah, like, the thing that's my weakness is pretty prevalent here.
so it works. Alright, so Bradley, what is your level 9 like?
5th level spell slots instead of 4th.
Ooh.
I get a 5th level, or I get a new spell, which I will pick a 5th level spell because why wouldn't I? And also an extra warlock invocation.
What are even
That's the hard one.
5th level? Oh, warlock invocations. Yeah. Are there
Not-
are there any more of like familiar invocations, or do you have the ones that exist?
I have the ones that exist for Pact of the Chain. There's a couple more, but they're like 15th level.
Gotcha.
I'm looking around. There's a bunch that involve.
The 5th level spells are so badass.
Oh yeah,
They're all so cool.
I think it's funny though, because I'm using the dungeon page that I always use, and I guess I should test this back against my own PHB. But according to the dungeon sourcing, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 5th level warlock spells.
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what I just
PHB.
looked at.
That is insultingly small.
Yeah, and they're not even like the good ones either.
4
It's-
in the PHB?
Contact Other
Yeah.
Plane, Dream, Hold Monster, and Scry.
Yeah, on 5e tools they also have planar binding and teleportation circle.
Ooh, they don't have teleportation circle in the player's handbook. I know that.
Maybe
But
it's
I'm
an
looking-
errata.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
it's an updated
Yeah.
player's handbook.
Yeah, because I definitely have one of those cheapo Amazon copy player's handbooks.
I still have mine from like whenever it first got published, and like we were playing some one shot a long time ago with Austin, and like I was sitting there like reading stat blocks for my druid summons. They're like, no, it doesn't do that. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It says it right here in my PHB. And they're like, yeah, you have one from like 2014. It's out
Ooh,
of date.
that's serial number 8. Impressive.
They're like, it's out of date. And I'm like, oh, fuck me.
We're getting to the point if I got to decide what kind of warlock Kamin's really gonna be.
Yeah, and
This-
I think like asking those questions of like how's Kamin doing, that's definitely gonna paint the kind of spells and invocations he takes.
yes, it is.
Oh, oh, I'm so pumped. And
God, there's even including all the books, it's limited.
it's still pretty limited, but there's
Oh, yeah.
all the spells are so cool.
And of course,
though.
I could always bump back and grab from others, but I mean, a lot of them are you deal a bunch of necrotic damage. Yeah. But there's also like Dance Macabre and stuff like that, and I am like low key like if I take Dance Macabre and then there's a Eldritch Invocation that lets me get Animate Dead. Like, do I want to go full Necromancer Warlock time, or do I want to go another direction?
And I definitely, this will be something we will all explore together as a unit. But I see, like, the 5th level spells for Warlock, there's a lot of, like, planar stuff.
Yeah.
And this is definitely not a typical D&D world, so
Yeah.
it'll be very much an experience for that kind of stuff.
Let's go somewhere else.
Rips a hole. Gloam 2 comes through.
Gloam 2.0.
Now that's it. Yeah, we try and go to any other plane of existence, but the Gloam has already taken over every other plane of existence.
We're the last one.
And we're like, let's go to the Feywild. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Peer
oh,
into
it's the
it.
dead mushroom place from our casual game.
There you go. There it is. Peer into another plane. You see Katu sitting there at a door waiting to come through. And it's like, oh, hey.
He's like, oh,
I'm not gonna lie,
Oh,
you said
oh.
Ka, and I was like, Cock's right there.
Cock is, yeah.
Cock-
Cock's, Cock's eating some hay right over there. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Well, and level 9. Big leagues. Big leagues.
Leagues.
Yeah, I kind of realized I initially thought, like, yeah, I'll give them something new after, like, every 3rd or 4th level. And I'm like, I've only done, like, one feat thing. And I'm like, it's just because you guys have gotten so off track that I was like, when do I reward them? I don't know what they're doing anymore. Because normally it'd be like, yep, you reach this benchmark, now you level up. Now it's just like, I don't know, just level up, I guess. But this session seemed as fitting of a time as any to level up. Like, this was a whole new world, as the kids say.
I mean, combat's one thing, but we did combat of the heart.
Yeah, we had emotional turmoil. Like CR32, like wrecked my emotions. No,
So-
I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
Yeah, Drew, how off did I, like, catch you with that?
Hey, so you know how like in the Jackass movies they like make you look over there, then they splash you with water and punch you in the face?
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, trust me, I like read through the Sluty backstory you sent me so long ago, and there was very much a lot of like, even though you wrote essentially a short story, there was
Sorry.
still a lot of room for like, okay, he doesn't know how this happened or this happened, and so like, I had planned like, this is where Ilya will be. Here's what would have happened. And you've repeatedly said the cult has taken her. And part of me is like, maybe I should rewrite what I came up with. And I'm like, no, I want to throw Drew for a loop. I'm gonna fuck him up.
Well, I mean that just means that bastard who I threatened to kill lied to me. That was the one who was like left alive. So I've been thrown for a loop by a dying cultist.
Yep. Tell you what you want to hear to save his skin.
Oh no, he did not live.
Oh, he tried.
Oh man.
Good stuff. Oh
Good stuff.
man. I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with and what you do because, like I said during our little break thing, you guys have been away from Driftchapel for a while, and who knows what state everything will be in.
Everyone's dead.
I mean, Sludig did fist fight a rusted suit of a diving suit,
Big
and then
Daddy.
just said, "Oh fuck."
Yeah, I'm
That's
actually
pretty bad.
good.
No
I'm gonna
thanks.
get out of here.
And then you
Oh,
skip
man.
town for a week and a half.
So much better than the week and a half we were in town.
You won so much
Real.
gold fighting.
I
on
won
that
so much
boat.
gold, but I would throw it all away for my wife, even though she's dead.
You're gonna gussy her up. You're gonna renew your vows before you go kill this cult.
That'd be cute.
No,
Please.
but that'll hurt Sludig so much more.
That will hurt me. I don't think I can fully do that. I would cry. Dieter's over there playing a little Casio keyboard.
Drunkenly.
Oh man. Yeah, and I honestly I didn't expect. Well, I take that back. I think because I knew, similar to whenever I start playing my next campaign after Sharn Knight stuff, because I knew this campaign was going to be in a very concentrated form, it really gave me the chance to be like, I'm just going to like go all
Throw
out,
it.
like do the stuff. But I didn't really expect it to be this heart-wrenching.
Mhm.
Like, I expected it to be heart-wrenching because it's like, oh no, Kamin died. And it's like, oh no, that's so sad. But it's not, that's not even happened yet. Now it's like, oh no, my sister and my wife.
Wife.
It's
I found her, but
Yeah.
she's already dead. Now she's consumed by rage like I was, trying to get vengeance on it all, and I see myself in her, and now I have to be the her for her. And oh god.
Yeah, and so I did not expect this campaign to take that type of turn. Like, it's been something. But oh god.
But like it makes it feel very real. It's like there are these emotional connections even in maybe especially because the extra shitty world.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Or real.
That's why, oh man. You know, we don't have really an after show to answer questions and talk about the deep, gritty secrets, so we'll keep talking about it. 2 weeks ago, whenever we last played, I think I may have said this during the break, may have said this on stream, I don't know anymore. But I told Rachel how excited I was for that interaction between Aminah and Farah. And I was so pumped that I almost threw out all of my notes from last session and just skipped to that scene. But that would have taken away from the deadliness of the bog and yada yada. But, I've been looking forward to that scene for so long, and talking to Rachel about it, I was like, this is one of those instances, because like normally you like can plan, be like, I know my players, I know what kind of decision they'll make. But with this, I was like, I have no idea. Because I had stats planned out, I had a combat encounter planned out, just in case. Because I was like, you know, I don't know what they'll do when they find out, like, she's killing and eating people, essentially. Or, you know, they learn or deduce that she's essentially just sort of this watchdog for the witches for now. Like, or Aminah notices that she's still stunted like she was all those years. She has not aged hardly at all since then. And she's still a, you know, 6-year-old kid just about. So it's like, I almost expect them to like do a sort of Lassie put it out of her misery kind of thing. But I was like, I don't know what route to go. And no matter what, it's gonna be sad.
Yeah.
And like, I just didn't expect it. So I was like, oh man, what if this happens? And then it spiraled and spiraled.
Okay, there was part of me for a long time that like if that encounter were to happen, like I thought, well, what if we did do that? And I was just like, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't bring myself to do that. Oh God, I know ultimately this is like a world of our own fabrication, but like I would feel guilty. I would feel so.
It's like in a video game when you can't. Thanks for cheering, Obushina Webe. Thanks for the bits.
Hey.
Yes, we're getting into some real sad kid hours right now. Talking about this campaign. We need the bits. We need the cheering. Oh man. And yeah, and don't get too comfy, Bradley. Wait till you get back to Driftchapel. I've made sure to keep you on edge. I've tried to like just little hints like
this whole trip Kamin's just chilling out in the back of the wagon watching their lives fall apart.
And then inside he's like
I want to go home.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and this all came about because like fuck, I could send a screenshot of my planning for this campaign. The witches were going to come into play in just a different way. And so it's going to be a little more staggered of like, here's this little detail, here's this little detail. And then you guys just went like straight into their living room of like, let's go. And I was like, well, all right, let's do it. That's... To me, that's so much more fun, though. Like, this campaign has given me such an appreciation for, like, more fast-moving stories. Like, a drawn-out story, it's very fun. It's very fulfilling. But getting that juicy stuff more frequently, it's like, yeah, let's do it.
And, like, being on a crunch, too. Like, not knowing that if you do take the time to stretch it out, things are getting worse.
Might be consequences, yeah. Oh man, I love it. Oh man, I just can't believe you guys decided to go to the bog. It's
Logan,
still...
we need to have a conversation though.
Oh no, that scares me. I need some.
It scares me too.
Oh,
it's okay.
Oh man. Any other thoughts, feelings, shouts in the universe about the campaign, or characters, character thoughts, or player thoughts, or player worries?
I mean, don't get too comfortable because Aminah has some words.
There's nothing about this campaign that's comfortable.
Yeah.
Hey, Sludig, now that your wife's helping us, let's go kill my sister and stop.
I don't know if she would do that, actually.
Oh,
that seems very much like cutting off your own hand. I don't know if the Bog Witches would let her do that, and something tells me that Ilya has less than total control of what she can do.
Woo! Well, if there's nothing else, I guess that's it for tonight, and we will keep playing and kind of get into sort of a battle planning mode almost for the next session, talking about the cult and what each side has learned about them and what you can do about it. So until then, 2 weeks from now, let me double check my calendar because there's been a couple of changes recently. But my Fridays should all be hunky dory. Yes.
Honky.
Friday the 23rd.
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Solid, yeah.
Friday the
I got it.
23rd.
Yeah.
Next Shadows Over Driftchapel. So on this beautiful day, I guess. What's Bradley? What's the weather like in Driftchapel?
Why is it always me?
I don't, because you said it that one time. I guess either
It's
Sludig or
fine.
Aminah.
No, it
Alright.
was snowing last time. Now it's golf ball sized hail. Just gonna make it worse for all the dead people. Where we can hear, like as we're riding into Driftchapel, we hear the tinkling of hail on all of the big daddies walking around town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You walk into the bar. There's
There's like 3 of them. Oh,
Hey. Oh wait.
Oh god.
they've evolved. They're just complaining about work now.
Yeah, they work on the docks, and it's just terrible. Dieter doesn't know. He's just talking to them. He's too drunk to figure it out. I love it, gals. Thank you, Nobushi Noebe. We try. So in 2 weeks, we will see what the plan is, and effectively, we will reach the second half of the campaign and see what the next plan is. Oh,
boy.
cannot
Oh boy.
believe. Well, good night, everyone. You know the normal drills and stuff. Follow everyone. Follow me. Subscribe to my Patreon. Yada yada yada. Everyone. I hope to see you all Monday for Sharn Nights. If not, hopefully we'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah, level 9. We'll see you in 2 weeks for another session of Shadows Over Driftchapel.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.